This is not the SH3 Art Shanks. This is the Megahouse Variable Action Hero Shanks, and if you aren't familiar with the Variable Action Heroes line, let me put you on. This line of One Piece figures are 1 night scale, and I've had plenty of cool releases. They even made a Whitebeard, which I desperately want reissued because he is crazy expensive on the aftermarket. Shanks' situation was the same way as Whitebeard, where his aftermarket price was crazy high, so it made him really hard to get. So, when Megahouse announced that they were reissuing this figure, I had to cop. And they even made this reissue different by giving him a cloth cloak instead of a plastic one, which sold me even more on this guy. And before some of y'all go, why didn't you just wait for the SHF? 2 reasons. The first reason being that this reissue was announced before the SHF was, and second, I still wanted this guy so I can display him when my imagination works Luffy. And I'm actually very glad I didn't cancel my order, because he's actually pretty damn good. Shanks comes packaged in a tall, dark, reddish box that has a huge image of the figure. Honestly, it's too huge. Like, we can literally only see Shanks' head and right shoulder. Definitely not a fan of that. Here's the top, sides, bottom, and back of the box. The back of the box really doesn't showcase the figure all that well, as it's just 3 promo images. The box's design is neat, but I'd like it to show off the figure some more. Since the box doesn't show off the figure well, I guess I'll have to.
I think we're ready to go for it. The One Piece.
To start off with, he looks really damn good. The likeness is great and they nailed his proportions. His hair has nice shade on it as the red to black blends very well. Then the shirt has dark shade all on it. That looks really good, and all of his buttons on it are nicely painted. All of his skin has some nice shade on it as well. His pants look good, and right below them, we can see his shins and calves have some little hairs on them. Goofy looking, I know, but it is accurate. And his sandals look nice. Then his sword hilt is nicely painted, but the sheath I have an issue with. After sliding it through the sash, which wasn't easy, it got massive paint rub and scrapage all over it. This is some serious ass, because now the sheath looks horrible. I'd recommend heating the sash up before putting the sheath in to help prevent this horrible issue. Now, let's talk about his cape. It looks really good. The navy blue outside and the purple inside is done well. And the cape also feels like a really high quality material and has bendy wires all throughout it, which is great because it gives it a lot of creative freedom while posing this guy, which is something you don't get with a plastic one. And to put this cape on, you have to use the bendy wire in the collar area and wrap it around his neck and shoulders. There's no clip, which I sort of like but don't like. The reason I like it is because sometimes clips can have the cape sort of look floaty, but with this it hugs the body well. As for the reason I don't like, it doesn't stay on the best while posing since it just sits on his body. So like when I'm trying to pose his arm up or something, I have a hard time keeping the cape from falling off. The bendy wire does help a lot with this, as you can figure out ways to have the cape cling to his body so it does stay on better. So I am glad that they did away with the plastic one and gave us this wired one, because I really do think this looks better and is definitely way better for posing. And speaking of posing, I found an issue that whenever I use his elbow joint, the paint chips away, which is super ass. Thankfully though, this is the only issue with this arm. As the other, I don't have to worry about this issue. Then I'm glad to say that this figure feels great. He feels really high quality and all the joints are nice and smooth, which if you own any Variable Action Heroes figures, you know some of them can be very freaking loose. Overall, the look and feel with Shanks is amazing. As for his accessories though, he really doesn't come with much. Shanks comes with 3 faceplates. He comes with a closed mouth smiling face, a joyful closed eyed face, which I really like and is my favorite faceplate that he comes with, and lastly, he comes with a stern face that has his eyes dilated, which means bro is serious as fuck and is more than likely using the color of the Supreme King. This face is cool, but it does look a little off to me. I think the eyes might be a little too small and the forehead might be too big. Overall though, all the faces do look good, as they capture Shanks' likeness damn good and have nice detailing on them. And speaking of faces, I thought I got snubbed at first, because I thought the first release of Shanks came with an angry yelling face, and I was confused when this one didn't. Well, it turns out that faceplate was a bonus or something like that, so that's why it's not included with this figure. Which definitely sucks, because I mean, he doesn't come with many faceplates, and for the price of this figure, they could have thrown that in. Oh well, lucky enough for me, the Goat Toy Show reached out and said he had an extra, so I was able to buy it from him. So huge shout out to him, and if y'all haven't, definitely check out his channel. His reviews are really fun and creative. He comes with a fisted hand, an open hand, a hand that is made to sit on the hilt of a sword, and then he comes with a sword holding hand. And of course, he comes with a sword and griffin. But you sort of do have to assemble the sword. The blade of the sword comes as a separate piece that you have to plug into the hilt. And when you take the hilt out of the sheath to construct the sword, make sure to take this little plastic connector out. The sword overall looks really clean and it's pretty damn big. Quick note, when you try to put the sword into his hand, you're gonna have to bend his fingers back some, which is scary because I hate having to put stress on the plastic, but I haven't noticed any marks yet. Just be careful when doing this. Overall, Shanks really doesn't come with much, especially for his price. Like, you could have at least come with a sake cup or some sort of effect piece. And with the minimal face and hand selection,
Are you serious right now, bro?
there is more to be desired. So I'll give the accessories like a rating of fair. Then for his articulation, I think it's pretty good, but there's definitely a few areas that need some improvement. To begin with, his head doesn't really look upwards because of the hair on the back of his head, but it can look pretty far downwards. It can look side to side and gets a tiny bit of tilt. His arms go pretty far upwards, there's rotation at the shoulder and elbow. His elbows can bend past 90 degrees, though I feel like it should get more range since only like part of the joint is moving. Either this part right here is stuck or it's just ass, I don't know. Then he has good wrist movement, and if you're wondering about his nub, it moves around fine. His butterfly joint is something I have a major issue with. It sucks. Well, on the side that actually has an arm. The nub side moves smooth and gets a way better range than the side with the arm. Cause like, look at this. The side with the arm gets no freaking forward range. And if you try to force it, the arm will pop out of socket. It plugs back in securely, so don't worry about it popping out all the time. But with this crappy butterfly joint, the main reason it doesn't want to work because of this area in the figure that is blocking the joint from moving around. Well, Fake Customs on Insta fixed this issue by just dremeling the inside area down, and then now he gets some better range. So if you guys want to do that, go for it. Then this upper diaphragm area really doesn't get much forwards or backwards motion, but it can twist and move around pretty smoothly. His waist joint works great, but I just noticed that I've been getting major paint rub from the sash onto his shirt. This freaking blows. At least the floaty bottom shirt piece covers it well. Speaking of the floaty shirt piece, if you raise it up, we can see the leg engineering and stuff, and wow, is this leg joint wonky. It's on a drop down hip system, and I really don't see the need for it. Without dropping the hips down, the legs get a great range of movement in all areas. And if you use the drop down hips, it kind of just makes things look bad. Speaking of bad, I don't like seeing this metal joint. It can really stick out and make the figure look cheap. So yeah, the leg engineering is sorta ass. But to carry on with the articulation, he has rotation at the upper thigh, which fully reveals the ugly joint. He has some big ass double jointed knees, really good ankle articulation, and a toe joint. The articulation overall is decent. He moves around smoothly, but has a few limitations that definitely hold him back some. Now this figure is 1/9 scale, so he won't scale well with your SH3Arts One Piece figures. When he's next to Luffy, it's almost like he's next to Kid Luffy. Hold up, I got an idea. Yeah, never mind. Then if you put him next to SH3Arts Kaido, you can tell the scale really doesn't work well here, because Shanks is too damn big. Thankfully some of the figures from the Variable Action Heroes line scale well with him, and that's what really matters. And I wanted to have him next to the Imagination Works Luffy on display, but I don't know if that works well. Luffy's just too damn tall next to Shanks. It's not the worst thing ever though. Then here he is next to SH3Arts Naruto, here he is next to Demoniacal Fit Goku, and lastly, here he is next to Storm Collectibles Yujiro Hama. Pretty much, this figure is overall good. He looks great and has been pretty damn fun playing around with, but the question I know y'all want to answer to is that, is he still worth getting? Well, yes and no. If you collect 1/9 scale figures and really want a Shanks figure now, go for it, because you will enjoy this figure. Then I say no because the SH3Arts Shanks releases in a few months, and that figure retails for around the same price and comes with way more stuff, and it is also 1/12 scale. So if you want to wait for that figure, definitely just do that. But you know, there's nothing wrong with having multiple figures of Shanks, especially since they are both different looks of the character. And despite SH3Arts making a Shanks and other One Piece figures, I really hope Megahouse does more reissues and releases new characters. Like, please reissue Whitebeard. Please. He is crazy expensive on the aftermarket and needs a reissue desperately. And they also need to say something about the Gear for Luffy they're supposedly making, because that thing is going to be sick. But that's enough yapping for me. That's it for this video, guys. I really hope y'all enjoyed it, and by now, everyone should be aware, One Piece is on top.